Okay, long division. Okay, I may be strange, but I love long division. Okay, it's complicated, it seems messy, but it really isn't. Okay, so there are a few things that you need to remember right at the beginning in order to make things easier for yourselves. First of all, show all of your work, every bit of it. If you skip things, if you erase things, it's going to make these problems harder. Okay, so just get used to showing all of your work and just make it a habit. Next, make certain you can read your work. If you can't read your own work, then this is going to be kind of hard. Okay, so I know some of your writing is a little bit, um, needs a little bit of work, but it's all right. As long as you can read it and you know what you wrote, you'll be fine. And lastly, stay organized. Okay, just get used to doing things in the same place. Make certain you can read things. Just stay organized, and you're going to be able to find these are a lot easier than you think. Okay, so with those few things in mind, let me get rid of these steps and we'll do our first problem. Okay, in this video, I'm not going to explain why a lot of things work. Like, why do we start with the 3 instead of the 6 and that kind of stuff. I'm just going to do the math problems, and you can ask those questions later if you'd like to. Okay? Why we do things is sometimes just as important as how, but if you're watching this video, it's because you don't know how. So that's what this is for. Okay, remember I said to stay organized? This is how I do it. Okay, I do my official problem over on this side. So this is where I'm going to show all my work that helps me get my answer. And over here is where I do any scratch work necessary. And you're going to see that I use this quite a bit. Okay, most of the time back in elementary school, when we were taught this the first time, they said if it doesn't work, erase it, try again. Try another number. If it doesn't work, erase it, try again. That's why it was really hard, because every time you had to start completely over again. If you have stuff over here to look at, you don't have to start over every single time, and it's really helpful. Okay, let's do this. All right, we want to see how many times 5 goes into 3,296, but we're going to start at the beginning. Okay, so you're going to take one number at a time. We're going to look at the 3. How many times does 5 go into 3? It doesn't. And since it doesn't, we're not going to have a number above the 3. Okay, that X isn't necessary, but I'm going to put it there just to show you that we've already taken care of the 3. Because it didn't do anything yet, we're going to tack in the next number. So we're looking at 32 together. So does 5 go into 32? Absolutely. Anything that's bigger than 5, it will go into. Okay, so now we move over to the workspace. If you know your 5's times tables, this is easy. If you don't, that's what your workspace is for. Okay, so you can count up on your fingers if you want to, or whatever you're going to do, but I'm going to just kind of jump into it. We're going to say 5 times 5. Just take a guess. It's 25. It's close, but let's try 6. Count up on your fingers. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We're getting closer. Okay, and I'm sure you already know the answer, or if you do, you've already found it, but I wanted to do this just to explain something. Okay, so 5 times 7 is 35, and it's too big, right? So I want to find over here the number, the answer here, that is as close to 32 as it can be without going over. 35 went over, and 30 is as close as it can get. Okay, if I didn't do these in order, then that would be hard to judge. Okay, so do these in order, and that will be helpful. So we know we need to use 30 because it's as close to 32 as I can get without going over. which means I'm also going to use the 6. Okay, the 6 goes up top, and now 6 times 5 goes down here. Okay, so this little circle is going to happen a lot. Okay, and then again here, how many every times you need it, that little circle is going to happen. Okay, so 6 times 5, we figured it out over here, is 30. And you subtract. So 32 minus 30 is 2. And like I said, why you subtract, I'm not even going to explain it right now. I'm just going to do the math. Okay, bring down the next number. Okay, that arrow, anytime I have an arrow bringing the next number down, I have to have a single number above it after these first ones, right? Because I didn't need to bring anything down. So now I need a number above the 9. When I bring the 6 down, I'll need a number above the 6. So arrow numbers need answers. Okay, so here we go. This is the main reason why you leave your answers, your work over here in the workspace. Because now I want to figure out how many times 5 goes into 29. Okay, so I'm looking for numbers over here that are as close to 29 as possible without going over. 30 went over. 25 is the number I need. Okay, so I didn't need to start over. I had all of this. You just look over there and it's like, oh, I know this. So then you write it down. Okay, 25 is going to be the number down here. So the number I times by goes up top. Okay, so the 5 is here. And then that next circle comes in. Okay, so 5 times 5 is going to be 25. And we subtract. Okay, we get a 4. Bring down a 6. So that's our next arrow number. Okay, so let's look over here. Are any of these helpful? Well, 35 is the largest one we have that goes in evenly. So let's do a few more just to double check. Okay, if you're pretty confident, yeah, you could skip a couple numbers. Like if you knew it was going to be 5 times 9, then just write 5 times 9. You didn't need to do 5 times 8. But this way you see them all in order and it's nice. Okay, so 45 is only 1 away from 46. So the next one is going to be even bigger. However, the next one is a 10, and we can't use a 10. We can't put a 10 up here. We can put only a single number. So we're done. Has to be a 9. So 9 goes up top. Then there's that next circle, and the 45 is going to go down at the bottom. Let me make my 9 a little longer. 45, subtract, and we get 1. We're out of numbers, and this is the whole number chapter, so we're not going to do fractions or decimals or anything. All we're going to do is say remainder 1, and you're done. Okay, that wasn't too horrible, was it? Okay, let's try another one. Okay, here we go. Another single digit on the outside. Do you need to draw this line every time? Absolutely not. But I like to because it keeps my paper, my screen, whatever, organized. And I know I can't slosh over either direction from that line. My workspace stays in one side, my actual official work stays on the other. Okay, so I want to do 8 into 1, and it won't go. Okay, so now I'm going to do 8 into 19. Okay, so 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2. If you don't know that, you can just add another 8 down here. Pull your fingers out, get the answer, 16. That's close. I'm going to do one more and see. So 8 times 3. Again, if you don't know the answer, add another 8 down here. 14, 2, 24. And that's too big, right? So the biggest of these numbers without going over is the 16. So I'm going to use the 2. Okay, so the 2 goes up top. First of those circles, we're going to put the 16 below the 19. So minus 16 right there. And we get a 3. Bring down a 0. And since that's an arrow number, there has to be an answer above it. Okay, so 8 into 30. Look over here. 24 is not quite to 30, so let's do one more. So 8 times 4 is 32. If you don't know that, add another 8 down here. You get 12, carry 1. It's 32. 32 is too big, so we're going to use the 3, right? Okay, 3 goes up top, other circle, and we're going to do 3 times 8. 24 goes down here. So 24, and we're subtracting. Borrow if you need to, subtract however you can, and you get 6. Bring down the next number, a 3. So I need to have a number above the 3. All right, are these numbers helpful? Not really, they're kind of small. However, 60 something is about twice as much as 30 something, right? So I'm going to go twice as much as 4. So instead of doing 8 times 5, 8 times 6, 8 times 7, 8 times 8, and just, if you figure you can jump ahead, try it, see what happens. Okay, I'm going to double it and go up to 8 times 8. And notice I left some space in front of it, and I have some space after it, so that I can do other numbers above and below if I didn't choose right. Okay, here's the problem with 8 times 8 if you don't know your times tables. You're going to have to add quite a few, right? But that's all right. You're going to get there. Just keep adding until you memorize. So 8 times 8 is 64, and that's too big, right? Okay, so let's go down one. 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, and I'm going to get this stuff out of the way because we're not going to use it. Okay, so 56 is the biggest number in order, the biggest number without going over. So we're going to use 56. We need a 7 up top. Okay, next one. There's our new circle. 7 times 8 goes down here, 56. And we're subtracting. Subtract, borrow if you need to, and we get a 7. Okay, bring down the 2. And if you know your times tables, you know it goes in evenly. But if you don't, we're over here doing one more. Okay, because 62 wasn't quite big enough, I didn't think, so I wanted to try the next one to double check. Sure enough, 72 is the exact answer. So 9 goes up top. Subtract 72, and you get 0. So there's no remainder on this one. Your answer is 2,379. Okay, so stay organized, show all of your work, and make certain you can read your writing. Okay, that's important here where you're doing the borrowing and things. Okay, all right, let's do another one, a little bit harder. Yep, this one got harder. All right, when you have a number out in front that you're dividing by that you don't have times tables for, your workspace becomes even more important. Okay, all right, let's do this. So 17, if we look at 4 by itself, it doesn't go into 4. But if we look at 45, 45 is bigger than 17, so it will go into it. So over in the workspace, let's take a guess. So 17, let's try times by 2. And so we get 14. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. I don't know. Let's try the next one. So 7 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21, carry 2. 3 times 1 is 3, add 2 is 5. So that one's too big. We need the 2. So let's put the 2 up top. That's a weird 2. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do that little circle thing and put the number underneath. So we're going to put the 34 underneath, and we're subtracting. So 5 minus 4 and 4 minus 3. Bring the 6 down. Okay, I have no idea, but I do think that 3 is quite a bit away, right? So I'm going to jump up a little bit. I may be wrong, but let's try 6. Okay, and we get 42, carry 4. 6 times 1 is 6, add 4 is 10. Okay, it's a little small, so let's go up 1. Times 7. We get 49, carry 4, 119, and that's too big. So we are going to use 6. I was right on. 6 goes up top. Here's the next circle. So the answer goes below the 116. So we're going to do minus 102 and subtract. So you get a 4, you get a 1. Bring down the 8. Okay, is anything in our workspace helpful? Absolutely. We know it's got to be bigger than a 7, right? Or 7 might be it. Let's find out. Okay, so let's do 8. So 56, carry 5, and 13. Not quite there, so let's try 9 just to be safe. If you can figure out in your head that it's too big and you don't need the next number, there's no reason to do the next number. But until you get used to that, you might want to write a few of them. Okay? All right. So times by 9 is too big. We need to times by 8, right? 153 is bigger than 148. So we're using 8. Whoa, sorry about that. I think that's close. Okay, so we are going to use 136 because 153 is too big. So we're going to use 8. 8 goes up top. And then we do 8 times 17 goes underneath. So 8 times 17 was 136. Subtract. So we get a 2, we get a 1. Bring down the 7. Okay. Now this is incredibly helpful because we have all of these numbers in order, and 127 fits in between those two. So we know that 119 is the answer we need, so we're going to use a 7. 136 is too big, so 7 goes up top. And do that circle. 7 times 17 is 119. And we subtract. So we get an 8. So this is remainder 8 up top. Okay, not too bad. It was a little bit harder, but the same process, you can make it work. You do notice, though, that times tables are incredibly important, right? Over here. Okay, again, if you can't do your times tables yet, just add 17 multiple times, and you can get those answers that we got by multiplying. Okay, here's another one. And it's not gray, it's black. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so 26 does not go into 7 because 7 is smaller, but it will go into 79 because 79 is bigger than 26. So I'm going to start with 2 just because I don't know my 26 times tables. So 52, let's get bigger. So times by 3, we get 18 and 78. Woohoo! Okay, it's only one away, so you know the next one's going to be too big. So first circle, the answer goes down there. So 3 times 26 is 78, and we subtract. And we get a 1. Bring the 6 down. Okay, 6 is an arrow number, right? So it needs a number up top. But 26 won't go into 16. 16 is smaller than 26. That means the number that goes up top is a 0. Okay, you can't leave it blank, but 26 won't go into 16, so you have to say 0. If there was another number over here, I'm just making it up, you could bring that down and keep going. But we don't have one, so we're completely done on this one. Remainder 16. Okay, so every arrow number has to have a number above it, every single time. Alrighty, hardest one so far and the longest one so far, but we got this. Okay, 45 will not go into 3, and it also will not go into 36 because 36 is smaller than 45, right? So now I'm going to go into 364. You totally ignore the comma, right? Because that's part of the original number. But now we're starting from the beginning and tacking a number at the end every time. So 3, 36, 364. Okay, off to the side. Let's do a few. I'm guessing I'm not going to get it too right the first time. So, oh, geez, let's try 5. So we have 25, carry 2. That's 20, 22. That's not really close. Okay, so I might jump down here and try a 9 and see what happens. Okay, so 9 times 5 is 45, carry 4. 36 add 4 is 40. That's closer. Okay, so far I've been going up, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. But here I started 9 all the way at the end, so I'm going to go down on this line. So I'm going to try 8 next. The idea is you just want to keep the numbers in order so that you don't get confused. Okay, so 40, carry 4, 32 plus 4 is 36. And that's the one we're going to use because 360 is less than 364. 405, the next number, is too big. Okay, so we're going to use an 8. Okay, now when I say these circles, this is what I mean. We're going to do 8 times 45, and the answer goes down here. We already know what 8 times 45 is because we did it over in our workspace. Okay, so basically our workspace number goes underneath this number. And we subtract. We get a 4. Bring down the 1. So it's 41. And we have the same situation that we had in the last problem where 41 is less than 45. So 45 will not go into 41. So we have to put a 0 up here. Okay, so 0 goes up here. And you don't have to do 0 times 45 is 0. You subtract and you get 41, and then you bring down the 2. Okay, because what you do instead is just bring down the 2 on this same line. Okay, so now the 2 is right there. Okay, so let's look over at our workspace. Is anything helpful? Absolutely. Here's 412, here's 405. That's pretty close, and it's a 9, so we can't go any higher. So we're going to use a 9. Okay, 9 goes up here, minus 405, and we get a 7. We're done with numbers. We don't have any more numbers to bring down, so remainder 7. Okay, so there's the 3 steps that I brought up. Don't erase anything. Your workspace is incredibly helpful. Make sure you can read your own writing and you stay organized. Okay? One last thing is please, please, please learn your times tables. Okay? times tables are going to really be helpful. Okay? If you don't, I have another video about how to create your own times table chart using add so you don't have to figure out your times tables and you have a chart written that you can use. Okay? But you need to learn how to times as soon as you can. Awesome. You got this, guys.